Hello everyone, my name is Shailendra Chaudhary and I will be explaining the authentication methods of Azure Automation along with the demo in this video. So let's start. Authentication of automation account can be managed in two ways, either using the run as account or using the manage identity service, which is still in preview for automation accounts. Let's get into details for each of them. Whenever a runners account is created, a service principal in the backend is created as well, which provides access to automation account. However, there is a certain level of permission which is required to create runners account. On the subscription level, you need owner level of access or user access administrator. On the active Azure Active Directory, you require application administrator or application developer level of access, and on automation account, you should have minimum the contributor level of access. Once you have all these access, then your automation account can be created. Let's see this in a demo. I have opened the Azure portal and let me navigate to automation accounts. Right now, there is no automation account created. Let me create a new one. Let's name this account as lab automation. Subscription, you can choose your subscription from here. Resource group, I'll create a new one. Lab automation RG. The location, I'll choose Australia East because I live in Australia. And by default, run as account is selected here. Let's create the run as account. It will take a minute or two, so I'll pause this video. It took around 2 minutes to create the run as account. And in the notification, you can clearly see that a service principal is also created in the backend. I'll show you. So let's open a new tab and open the Azure Active Directory. If we'll go to the app registrations, you can see a new app is registered, which is a service principal, which is created. And a self-signed certificate is also created with an expiry of 1 year, which means after 1 year, you have to renew your certificate. Otherwise, your automation account will stop working. If we'll navigate back to automation account, click on the lab automation, we'll check the level of access which is provided. In the role assignment, these were the previous ones. We can ignore these right now because these were the previous identity which were removed now. So this is the service principal which was created in Azure Active Directory. And this provides a contributor level of access. This means by default, a contributor level of access for the whole subscription is provided. Most of the cases, you would like to tear down the access of the automation account. So there are three overheads of using the runners accounts. First one is certificate renewal. So which means every 1 year you have to renew the certificate. Second one is shrinking the level of access of automation account. And the third one is using the connections in Runbooks, which I'll show you later while I'll do the demo of the Runbook. Second method of authentication for automation accounts is managed identity, which is still in preview. In this case, you don't have to choose run as account option while creating automation account. Managed identity, however, can be used in two ways. One, by using system assigned managed identity, in which service principal and certificates will be managed by Microsoft, and you don't need to renew your certificate, or you will not see the service principal created in the Azure Active Directory. Other one is user assigned managed identity, in which you have to create the identity. But the benefit of using the user assigned managed identity is that you can assign multiple roles to it. But in the case of system assigned managed identity, only a single role can be assigned. However, the role can be assigned on a subscription, resource group, or a particular resource. System assigned managed identity lifecycle is same as the automation account, while the user assigned managed identity remains if the automation account delete. No need to manage the service principal, no certificate rotation is required, fine-grained access can be provided, and last, no additional cost for managed identity. Let's see this in demo. If we'll navigate to automation accounts, let's create another automation account. This time let's name it managed identity lab Automation, same subscription, same resource group, and this time we'll choose no as runners account. This automation account will be created pretty quickly because there is no backend service principal created here. So if we'll just refresh the screen, should be here any minute. So you can see now another account is created. And in this case, if we'll go to run as account, so now it's giving an option that run as account can be created, but we'll choose the identity in this case, system assign or user assign. In case of system assign, just click on and save. Once this is done, a service principal in the backend will be created and the role assignment you have to do based on your requirement. In this demo, I'll be creating a snapshot runbook. So I'll just provide access to the resource group where the VM is running. So VM is running in the VM RG and I'll provide the contributor level access. Let's save it. It took around 5 minutes to show the role here. And you can see the contributor level of access is provided on the resource group VM RG where the virtual machine is created. So if we go to the Active Directory now, you can see that there is no service principal created for the managed identity because it is managed by the Microsoft in the backend. So as I mentioned that in this demo, I'll be creating a runbook which will take the snapshot of the VM, means OS disk and the data disk, through both the runner's account as well as the managed identity. Before creating the runbook, there is one important thing which is the modules. If you click on the modules, we have to use two modules. One is AZ account, AZ account. Let's import this module. And another one is AZ compute. Because we are going to take the snapshot, those commands are required in the automation account. AZ compute. We can't import this right now. It has dependency on AZ accounts. I'll pause this video and do this in the backend. As you can see, both the AZ accounts as well as AZ compute modules are imported. I have done the same for another account too, which is manage identity automation account. So let's go to Runbook and create a runbook. Create a runbook, snap VM, name it snap VM. It's a PowerShell script, and you can find the script in the description of this video. Snap VM. Let me copy paste. In the parameter section, we have to provide the VM resource group as well as the VM name. And a connection is mentioned, which is the runners account connection, which connects to the AZ account using the service principal. So this is the mandatory section for runners account. In case of manage identity, we can remove the section. Now we are getting the details of the VM, then taking the snapshot of the OS disk as well as the data disk, and then finally listing them. So to save some time, I'm not running the scheduler, and I'll just run the same in the test pane. Let's go to the VM resource group. VM RG name is VM RG, and the virtual machine name is lab VM. So right now, if we'll check, there are one data disk, one OS disk, the network interface, NSG, and the virtual machine. So let's start. Now the job is queued. So I'll pause the video now and come back once it's done. It took around 2 to 3 minutes to create the snaps. As you can see, the snapshots are created, and finally two snapshots are listed here. Let's check in the resource group, refresh this resource group of the VM, and you can see one data disk snap and one OS disk snap is created. Let's try the same thing using the another automation account which is managed identity. However, the difference here is in the managed identity, we just provided access only for the resource group where we are creating the snaps. However, in the case of the run as account, it has a broader permissions over the whole subscription itself, which can be sometimes very dangerous. If we'll go to another automation account, same way we'll create the runbook, but this time there will be small change in the runbook. Snap VM, PowerShell, Snap VM, create, and the parameters section is same. Instead of providing those connections, now we are just using the identity and we are setting the context for the same subscription. Once this is done, everything else is same. It will just create the snapshots. Save this, test pane, provide the resource group name, VMRG, very simple. And the VM name is lab 001. Let's start this. Again, it's queued. I'll be back once it's done. It took around 2 to 3 minutes this time too, and now two more snaps are created. Let's check and confirm the same in the resource group. Yes, now you can see two OS disk snaps because in this snap I have attached the timestamp too. So two OS disk, two data disk snaps are there. So that means using the managed identity with the limited permission, we can do the same thing as the run as account. I would like to show you one more thing. How do we narrow down the run as account access? We'll go to the run as account and click on run as account. Microsoft has provided limit run as account permissions. And these are the manual tasks where you have to identify, like in the case of the Microsoft Compute, you have to provide not actions. So the final words for the video. In the case of managed identity, we don't need to manage any service principal, no certificate rotation is required, access can be fine-grained, and there is no additional cost. So once this managed identity is in general availability, definitely Microsoft will push towards managed identity instead of run and do. That's all for this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.